Hi, this is Becky. Welcome back to my channel. So, one of the cornerstone pieces of helping me in my journey has been something called Celebrate Recovery. And let me see here, I have next to my DSM 5, I also have as my Bible. And I admit I am not as consistent with this as I would like to be because, well, life. And that's an excuse. I have to make more time. Besides just prayer and meditation, what I was going to show you was the cover. It's called the NIV Celebrate Recovery Study Bible. And it is, I get the large print because of my vision issues. And it looks like it is by John Baker, forwarded by Rick Warren. Okay, yeah, Rick Warren is one of the other spiritual leaders that I would recommend looking up besides Kathleen Kuhlman. Rick Warren would be another good spiritual leader, and I will keep letting you know little tidbits of other people that I would advise. Okay, so Celebrate Recovery has always been really cornerstone, even if I don't necessarily be part of the group because of my nervous system. I have to spend a lot of time alone, which is fine. I like being alone because I'm a very creative, artistic person, and I mean, I can sit here and decorate and redecorate, and I can go to a thrift shop or yard sales, and I can swap things out. Like, I can entertain myself all day long. I mean, I have this dialogue all the time, which is why I understand why some people think I have certain diagnoses, which I don't. I can just entertain myself. I love car karaoke, so I'm sure everybody driving past me is like, yeah, she's a weirdo. Because yes, I'm a weirdo, and that is okay. I am here to tell you it is okay. It doesn't mean that you need to take a prescription. Okay. Now, if you need to take a prescription because neurologically, biochemically, you need that to balance out some brain chemistry, cool, absolutely. Situationally, absolutely. I can tell you what medication works for what pains in my bodies, but I can also tell you what my chakra system can do. So, that's the other resource that I wanted to talk to you about. Is come on. There we go. Chakra system. And you can even use the chakra system on your dogs, on your pets, on your animals, because their nervous system needs calming and regulating as well, because they're actually there helping you heal. So you are co-regulating your negative emotions. They're helping alchemize into a loving frequency. So they're here as sentient beings that are also here to help elevate and raise. So that's why we need to be kind to the animals, because if they're hurting, guess what? We're hurting, the earth's hurting, and we have too many people that are hurting. Okay? So I wanted to go ahead and tell you a little bit of the chakra system. This is not evil stuff, guys. It's just not. Jesus was a mystic. Just like the other ascended masters and Buddha and all of them, they were mystics. They were tapped into Christ consciousness, which is what I am now officially tapped into. And I'm clearing out that channel to be able to block out. I'm learning how to block out everybody who keeps trying to harvest my energy and harvest from my auric field and all my blessings. They keep trying to tap in here and steal it. And anyway, chakra system. That's what I've been working on here for these last 2 years, trying to figure this stuff out. The chakra system is the power source of the energetic body, and it plays a very important role in maintaining balance in the physical body, emotions, and the mental clarity. And that's where the people are getting you. The elders that know how to manipulate the mind. I have relatives that was at 33rd Masons, so they get together in groups and form these chains of like groups that go after your mind and your clarity and your emotions and your body. Balanced chakras are important for the overall health for animals and humans. For the animals, they help with connecting, centering, and grounding to the earth. Chakras are energy centers that connect the nervous system, the organs, and the endocrine glands and other body parts, which secrete hormones into the blood system. In the picture that I showed you of the dog, it shows the location of different chakras within the dog's system. Our chakra system, you'll see pictures of it, is in alignment within the center. And I am a certified Munaki rights practitioner. And I'm just getting started. So I can put energetic bands of security around your chakras energetically, and that is a service that I offer. So if you're want a quote on how much that would cost or what that entails and what exactly that is, I can even give you the book, or the title, so that way you can look it up. It's with Alberto Villoldo and his wife Marcela Lobos. They are the Four Winds, and they help certify people into this type of healing practice. And so I've done their trainings and have learned the technique. I haven't had much experience yet, because remember, this has been 2 years of me learning the energy medicine work, how to protect my own energy from people around me, how to fully regain my divinity beyond what religion had. Because Christianity and my Pentecostal upbringing with my grandparents and my dad and my uncle and my mom with her I'm just telling you, religious wounds are hard and witch wounds are hard. And when you are persecuted by both organizations, like both worlds, I'm like, okay, I don't fit in with the magical, mystical people. I don't fit in with the religious people. Well, where are my people? So my ancestors said, well, create your online community tribe, so that way you can actually call them in and they can hear you, because where I'm located, I keep getting passed around like a puffer fish between family members. And I want to be able to stabilize and really just stay focused on my mission and not have to keep regrounding and regrouping and reorganizing and getting myself resituated. So thank you for the patience that you are here, and my stumbling blocks towards independent freedom from patriarchal beliefs and allowing me to be a solo adventurer in the game of life, in order to be able just to do God's work and God's will where he calls me and where he needs me. Back to the chakras. So your first chakra, which is your root chakra, that is in charge of your feelings of security, survival, any issues with being aware of the body. And this is usually where they try to keep us stuck, is in fear of, death, destruction, war, illness. You really have to be careful what they're programming into your mind. And I know it sounds like I'm paranoid and whatever, and I'm not. I'm just speaking from experience and wisdom that were passed down through the generations through my bloodline. So I am passionate enough that God said, you might not be doing it right to the religious people, and the spiritual people don't want you telling the religious people their secrets. So I walk a very fine line when it comes to speaking up, because people like me do often have security issues, but I don't have to worry about the security, because the systems, even though they're broken, okay, God is filtering out the people that need to be filtered out and replacing them with the galactic council beings that are going to lead. Okay, we are shifting the power back into the hands of the people, and we are rewilding humanity We're escaping from mental prisons and programming, and we are unlearning all the unhealthy habits, hurts, hang-ups. We're releasing it all together. And since I've already, been through the process and still trusting the process, because it's going to continue to be a process. Even when I leave this body, even though I know this is the last time, this is my graduation incarnation, that even when I leave this body, I still have more to do in my mission. It's just not in this realm. It's not here in this 3D experience. It's elsewhere. So my mission as military mindset, and they're like, oh, that's an act. No, that on the inside, galactically, I am military. My ancestors have a long lineage of military, so a lot of times they want to use me as a medium to strategize, because they still want to strategize. And honestly, I've become quite good at it, and I enjoy it. But I know people will say that's sick. How can you enjoy helping people when they're suffering? And it's not that kind of joy. It's the joy of the Holy Spirit. It's the joy of knowing that God is leading people to me, that I have the wisdom to help. And then I get disappointed if I see them repeating the same bad cycles and they have to come back and ask for the same help, And so I'm learning how to not be attached to the outcomes of the people that pay for my services. And the people who get my help are learning to be grateful for my help, but they're also learning that I am not who they think I am. They only know little snippets of me based on interactions that they have with me. But if you look collectively at who I am as a whole person, if you were to get all the people in my life that I've ever interacted with, even if they had a conflict with me, they will still say that I was an advocate for what was right. I was always trying to be the voice of reason, even if my logic was not quite right, just because I didn't have knowledge that the other person had, and I was just defending my point because, dang it, I'm not letting anybody tell me, because I've been snowed one too many times, fellas, And so once you start healing, then you can start calling in the people that you don't have to defend yourself from. And that's the kind of energy medicine that I can help you with. And if you are interested, go ahead and schedule that free consultation so we can go ahead and talk about your situation and how I can help. Back to chakras. So the first chakra is where they try to keep you stuck. That's your root. Turn your TVs off. That's not big. Turn the news off. Just don't feed your energy into anything that you don't want to see happen. So if you want to sit there and think about war, guess what's going to happen? How about we look at some, cute puppies playing in the fields or something? Unless there's something you can be doing actively, and I really do believe everybody could be writing a book. So even if you're disabled to the point where you're bedridden or you're elderly and you're morbidly obese, you can be doing an audiobook or something. You know what I mean? Like, you can be still creative. You can still be producing things that can help other people. I mean, I'm just using my camera. Half the time I don't even know how to use all the features on it and stuff, so it's like, use what you got, where you got, when you got it. It's kind of always been my philosophy. All right, so then the second is the sacral chakra, and this is the other place that I would always get tripped up on, is your emotional balance, control, and sexuality. Now, most of the time we're taught, society wants you to believe that sexual attraction, that is what you're looking for. That's a good sign, and that is false. That is false. When you get that feeling that, oh baby, that is your warning sign to run. That means you're attracted to this person because you're recognizing an unhealthy pattern that you might have enjoyed at one time that is resurfacing to see if you're still stupid. Okay, that is a warning sign, because here's what needs to be understood. The female vessel is meant to receive. The male vessel is meant to give. Men give, women receive. So if you're feeling sexual urges, those are not yours. If you're a female and you're feeling sexual urges, those are not yours. There are males that project into your sacral chakra in order to harvest your energy, and they will give you sexual urges, so then you initiate, and then you look like a Jezebel. But really, in the unseen, it's always started by the males. And even if the female isn't aware of the rules, it's still rape. Whether people want to believe it or not, in the eyes of the law, in the eyes of God, and as above, so below, godly men are in control again, because the light has already won. So, number 3 is the solar plexus chakra. And this is a sense of personal power, determination, and a sense of self-worth. Here's the other one that they try to get us, and this is usually done more through advertisings, and it's more subliminal. And then they condition us to pit us against each other, so we're always comparing, and there's always envy and greed and jealousy. They use the 7 deadly sins. They've just modernized it and put some, expensive labels on them to make it sound acceptable and desirable, and turn them into false idols. Nobody can take away what God gave you as birthright. They can try to stop it. They can try to block it. They can try to kill you, but God always makes a way. So He could part the Red Seas. He can make a way through whatever obstacle you're facing. And I'm your strategist to help you create the battle plan to help your children get to safety. And we help them launch and help you launch. Maybe you're still getting your kids out of safety, but you still haven't gotten launched out into the world safely on your own and individuated. I can help you, okay? The 4th is our heart chakra. It's our emotional connections. This is where we have unconditional love, we have balance, and we have compassion. And I'm just amazed. I guess I just always thought everybody had an open heart chakra. And then I just kind of realized over time that I would stumble into myself being this humble servant of God, and I'm going to do this, and we're going to help these people. And then next thing I know, I'm getting moved to a different project, and then the project I left crumbles and falls apart. And I'm like, well, why? Oh, that's a bummer. And then I'd be upset. And then I would think I did something wrong as a leader, going, well, I created the system with them and co-created it, and I gave them the blueprint on how to use that system. So what am I doing wrong? And I now understand that it wasn't that I was doing anything wrong, and everything that I built was great, but because it was built with the wrong people for the wrong intention, and I wasn't aware of devious, nefarious things done in the unseen and behind my back, and that I can't be on teams because I end up blessing warlocks that are pretending to be holy people in the community. And they're so disguised that the community does have them in high prominent positions. And so then I become a threat. And so people do, bad politics and all that. I mean, you know how it is. My tribe knows. They've been through it all. So, and we've been able to maintain an open heart chakra through going through hell on earth. And that's a miracle, and that is the Holy Spirit. I mean, when you can sit there and go, yeah, okay, well, how did I survive that near-death experience? How did that person almost kill me, but I knew how to do this when I had no idea that they were planning that? It had to have been God, right? How was it that my furnace goes out 2 days before Christmas, and the church, Grace Church, just automatically knows that I need the furnace, and I'm a private person. I do not initiate conversation, so I never even told the church that I needed heat. And here I am using my stove to heat up the rooms and little space heaters because I didn't tell anybody that I needed a furnace. And yet, Christmas Eve, a gentleman from the church, a retired electrician, happened to have a used furnace that he used to have own apartment buildings, and he, it was an old one that he just went ahead and updated. There were some things wrong with it, but a broken used furnace is better than no furnace. And it was such a blessing. And the church gave that gentleman the money to cover the work and the labor. And I always feel bad that I never had the money to go back to that church to thank them for that miracle. So I can't, give you the money because I don't have the money yet, but I can definitely give you a shout out. And Grace Church in DeMont, thank you, Tim Hester. Okay. The fifth throat chakra, which is why I'm so adamant about doing these videos, is because people have been trying to, like Ariel, I'm like the Little Mermaid, and people have been trying to be like how Ursula pretended to be Ariel, stole her voice, and then was like going around and pretending to be her, and Eric like fell in love with her, and Ariel is just like, are you serious? Like, really? That's what we're doing now? And so I've been healing my throat chakra, and that's why I'm finally able to say, yes, go ahead and capture my soul on the friggin' cameras. I know they're going to say I'm schizophrenic and all kinds of weird crap. It's not true. It's trauma responses that I find funny now, and I just put to use, okay? And you get spiritual gifts out of every hardship. So that's why I choose the hardest kids to work with, because they're the toughest kids spiritually. They're my soldiers. They're my warriors. They're the ones that are going to be making changes in the world. Because trust me, those of us that had to start in the pit of hell and are working our ways out of it, we don't care about the superficial crap. You could try to make me homeless as many times as you want. I actually like the homeless people more than I do a lot of the rich people that I've met so far. Not saying all rich people, but I'm saying the rich people I've met so far, not my cup of tea. I will help you out, but I would love to get paid now for it, and my value's worth for it, and that would be very, very appreciated. And if you don't want the reciprocity, then go ahead and keep on moving. It's okay. You don't have to block my algorithms and try to, attack my business and defame my characters. I'm not your person. Keep it moving. We're all good. Okay, the next one we have is the sixth third eye chakra, receiving guidance, wisdom, intuition, and keen perception. So my third eye is really starting to get crystal clear now, and this is something that I've had to work really hard, which is why I used Hape for about a year. It's a snuff from the Amazon tribes that helps clean out your sinuses. It cleans out, decalcifies your pineal gland. It helps you be able to tap more into the energies. I mean, you really can tap into your mystical abilities. I prefer being a middle ground. I don't really like being fully into the quantum field all the time, because it's kind of like standing in the middle of traffic, in Chicago, and everybody's whizzing by, and you're standing there stationary as everybody's like busy, blah, 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 and you have all the noise. And or another good analogy in my head, it's almost like during World War II, they would have old ancient telephones, right? You had to have an operator who would connect the wire from one house to the other house or business or whatever. So they would dial from the house, and it was the rotary dial, right? And they would dial, and they would get the operator, and that would be some woman usually sitting in some room with some other women with this big old board of all these like plugins. And they would be, hello, and who would you like to speak to today? And then they would say who they wanted to talk to. That woman would then find, the other electrical end, and she would then plug in from that phone line into that other person's phone line. And then there'd be this whole process for the conduit to be created. It took human beings, usually women, to lay the groundwork for the cellular telephones that we had today. So, you know, life is on an evolution, so is the human body and the human species. And one of the upgrades that we have to have in order to keep up is we have to have religious-minded people working on blending in their spirituality, and we need spiritual people grounding into more religious type practices, so that way we are in alignment with the way Jesus designed the blueprint. He's the OG of the star seeds, of showing us that whatever you're throwing out at somebody is really just bouncing off of your own energy field. Think of yourself as being in like this invisible bubble that keeps you protected at all times. Now, if you're drinking, if you're smoking and doing weed, and if you're fornicating and you're masturbating, then you are poking holes in your own protective shield. And I can speak from experience as well as now from research and trainings. Okay, so wisdom. That's why I say I'm on a shamanic soul retrieval, where I'm learning how to unlearn and relearn more into my divinity. Not in a religious way, not in a spiritual way, but in my divinity. And no one else is going to tell me what God's wanting for me, right? I am the one who is connected directly to my source of life, God. And it's a peaceful God who loves me very much. And I want to share that with everybody that I can. And that is through sharing the story of Jesus and the other ascended masters, like I said, Buddha and all of them. Now that my third eye is cleared up and my crown chakra, I'm actually protecting it way better. I had no idea that when I was being told that marijuana was used as a medicinal herb, and how the Native Americans would use it like in a peace pipe for like ceremonial purposes. I had no idea that I was being set up to later be said that I was like, you know, a drug addict, or, you know, or like, so that's not even true. So anyway, if you want to have more questions, or if you want questions answered about my beliefs and my research and what I'm finding out about marijuana, because I'm thinking now, conspiracy theory, and this is why I quit, is I think that they're poisoning us now through the marijuana, and you guys are doing it voluntarily. And the vapes, I think, are even worse than the weed. So we can have more conversation about this if you just go ahead and schedule that free consultation at homeandstockconsulting@gmail.com. All right, so the 8th chakra is called the brachial chakra. And see, this is where I am kind of still like learning the terminology. I've been tapped in to source since I was 5 years old, but nobody around me wanted me to know my gifts. They had bound me at 5 years old. And so I've been so angry for so long trying to save myself that finally we have the moment in time of the rise of the divine feminine. So everybody that's in powerful positions that are helping shift the winds for those of us that have been forced into humble servitude, when we know that we're supposed to be making lots of money with our gifts, but due to circumstances in the unseen, they are hindering our ability to be seen, which is why I'm creating this whole launch on being able to help star seeds be able to be activated and have their voice heard, so they can get launched and find their audience better, because that's what Jesus was. He was calling in his audience. We call them sheep. Today we call them audience. So I'm not saying that I'm Jesus, but I'm just saying I am one example of someone who lives out the Jesus blueprint, the Mary Magdalene blueprint, the path of least resistance happens once you get through your trials. You have to first purge your soul. You have to purge the vessel. And God is an artist, and he's going to use fire. He's going to use water. He's going to use chisels. He's going to use sandpaper. And all of those situations, those prickly situations, are going to refine you. Okay? He's turning a lump of coal into a diamond. And then Earth is a school for the soul. It's a learning environment, and death is part of that. Life isn't anything if we don't have the polarities. And so I help people recognize the polarities, accept the polarities, and integrate all of who they are. So the brachial chakra is the direct link to all the chakra centers, the connection to the human bonding. Then we have the ninth. See, they don't want us bonding. They want us totally isolated, talking to cameras, and afraid to go out and not interact and learn from each other. And I'm here to try to create a gateway for those that want to be connected and want to have a community that you can actually engage with and do life with. Welcome to the tribe. Go ahead and schedule a free consultation. Then we have the ninth, which is the minor sensory chakra. This absorbs compute energetic frequencies for survival, and that is something I've had to do. So if you had a horribly traumatic life, then you are part of my tribe, and welcome, welcome, welcome. You have made it. Whew. Now we have to reset our nervous system. We need to get fully healed in our physical body in order to do the next stage of thriving. Okay. The 10th minor bud chakra grounds and helps sense the energy shifts around them. And this is something that I feel is becoming more difficult as I continue to ascend. I mean, I'm to the point now where I'm like, I don't like the uncomfortableness of where I'm at in this journey. And did I make the right decision to take the off-road, off the beaten path road? Or I know it is the right path for me, just my nervous knot in my system is being triggered by the people around me who are anxious. I myself am excited, and physically the body sensations for excitement and anxiety are the same. So a neural rewiring that I'm trying to work on when I feel the butterflies in my stomach, I don't like that feeling. I like when my vessel is so calm and tranquil and at peace, because that means that my environment is tranquil and peace. So when my nervous system is going, that means one of my peeps somewhere is having something negative happening and their system is signaling. And when you're a mother, that is having your heart and your central nervous system outside of your body. And you know how hard it is when on an intuition level, you're being drawn to either withhold communication, withhold, healing that you can offer, because the Holy Spirit said, no, they need to sit in what they've created, even if it makes you uncomfortable, because you are a super empath. And yes, you might have used it for dark purposes in order to get them to come to God. They now have to do the inner work to purify the vessel. So that way it is not just good deeds being dead deeds, that we are actually helping them save their souls more than helping them achieve their material gains and their comfort and their childish kind of antics to get what they want in the 3D realm. Like I said, we were never supposed to be like these master manifestor magicians. That was all kept, all that occult knowledge was kept hidden by people that were supposed to be holy people. And as we know, that didn't go as planned, or maybe it did go as planned, right? So I just never judge. I just kind of go in the moment where we're at and we move forward. And that's how I kind of take life. So whatever you bring to me in a session, we're going to look at it in that moment as a snapshot, and then you go on. But if we strategize a plan and then you go on and then you come back and you're like, well, that plan's not working. Well, I don't know what you did to alter your own reality, because it's like the butterfly effect, which I think is either a short story novel or it might be a movie. Or another good one is Sliding Doors. Okay. Butterfly effect means one decision that you make, if you kill this one butterfly, Well, that one butterfly would have pollinated all these different flowers that now those flowers don't get pollinated, those flowers die. The animals that you see the circle of life, like one little decision affects, ripple effect everybody else. Same thing with, I think in Sliding Doors was a woman was going to get on the subway and the subway door closed right before she could get on and she missed her train. And so by missing the train, she didn't walk in on her husband having an affair. So that was the first half of the movie. And then what they do is they go through the second half of the movie, they backtrack the whole storyline and repeat it, but this time, instead of missing and those doors closing, this time she gets in right at the last second and she actually gets on that train, and then they show what happens, and then she shows up early and walks in on her husband having an affair. Two very different life paths for the same woman, right? Christian hearted, good woman, working hard, doing her career. She would have never known he was having an affair if she had missed that train, right? So life is a lot of that. Final Destination is another one. You're always dodging death. You just don't know it because your angels are protecting you, and your ancestors are like, no, not right now. She's still doing all right. Yeah, she doesn't got it quite 100%, but we're going to give her an A for effort on that one. We like what she's doing there with that. Okay, all right. We're going to give her some more time on this earth plane. Let's see what she's going to do with this one now. And I feel like that's how I choose to play life, almost like a game with my ancestors and like God and the universe. And I say I'm like on a spiritual scavenger hunt, and like every person that I interact with is a divine intervention. And then what am I learning from this person and how can I apply that? And then I just try to make life a little more enjoyable. Kind of like Bette Midler's character. Oh my goodness, I can't remember. Maybe it was Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy. I know she sang Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy for the military, I think during like World War II. I can't remember the name of that movie. If you could think of the name of the movie, will you please put it in the comments? But that's kind of how I feel like sometimes when clients, or not clients because I'm not in the systems anymore, when my tribe members show up, my people, that I'm not just there to be bored and dry and do an interview and tell you this is your diagnosis and this is what you do. That's not how I operate. The Holy Spirit will make me be goofy if they feel like your team has told my team, okay, channel through her some humor this time. And I'll read the room. So if I see that I'm trying to be humorous and it's falling flat, I'll stop because I know how to read people. Okay, I know how to read you on a spiritual, energetic level as well as on a 3D level, because many people have their throat chakras blocked where they're not able to speak their truth out of fear, out of shame, out of guilt, out of whatever programming has been placed on them to shut them up. My granny had taught me early on about the Native American women being the indigenous blood being very, very precious, and that I needed to be very cautious and basically understand that every man was out to hurt me in some way, shape, or form. And I never understood that because a lot of men are very kind and they, but a lot of these kind men in these churches don't understand what goes on in the unseen. And so they're doing things against God's will and laws when it comes to men and women. Like, I do not want to be in a room unsupervised with a man ever again. I was sexually harassed by a superior in powerful positions way too many times and had to defend myself, and there were no witnesses. So I refuse to be, right now, I refuse to be around any other humans other than the family members that we co-create together as much as we can. I help them out, they help me out, I move on and I help the next member, and I usually kind of go in a rotation and helping each other out. And I say I'm a missionary on wheels, which my wheels need to be looked at. So if you're a mechanic and you are interested in helping me in the Northwest Indiana part, let me know. I travel all of Indiana right now, but my goal is to go international and then global. So this is, you're on along for the ride of my ever evolving life. And I'm so grateful that you're here. And in the next video, I'm going to do more of the chakra centers, locations, and expressions in humans and animals. I'm going to go more in depth into that. But right now, I am finally starting to get tired, and I'm going to go ahead and lay down. Thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to talking with you in my next video. Have a great night.